if we happen to be successful with a coordinated action, and it means like that, like a platform where at least 5-10 people can represent this network state, private cities, tertiary communities movement, and they go talk with nation states. That this will be a very good start, because I am absolutely certain, and I always repeat this with other people who I meet in the ecosystem, I'm absolutely certain that we will get, if not millions, but at least thousands of followers within the decision-making bodies in the nation states when we position ourselves correctly. And that is how you shake the foundation of the current order. And I always bring the example. I'm bringing a very tricky example now, but it should a bit, I think, talk about, let's go back 2,000 years and see Jesus Christ. So he could reach out to people have the body brains and got millions of followers. One guy named Jesus Christ, let's get aside of religion, but I'm talking pure politics now, could shake the foundations of the Roman Empire.
Hello, friends. Welcome back to another episode of Age of Reinvention, Ecovillages, free cities, and intentional communities, where we explore the new living and community building frontiers. I'm Emily Bron, your guide and companion on this journey of discovery and innovation living models. Whether you are deeply fascinated by the future of how we live together, or you are on the cusp of taking a bold step towards reinventing your own life, or even if you're just curious about these concepts, this is a place for you. Today, we are privileged to have Vahram Ayvazyan, a true visionary and pioneer in the realms of free cities, network states, and intentional communities. His work is not just about changing landscapes, but about reshaping the very fabric of community life and governance. Let's delve into what these concepts mean. Free private cities are privately governed entities that offer a high degree of personal freedom and security. Network states are virtual communities that operate independently of physical borders. Intentional communities are residential communities designed for like-minded people living with cohesion and teamwork. These are not just places to live, but spaces that foster personal growth and fulfillment. We will explore how they're coming to life around the globe and what challenges and opportunities they bring. Vahram is here to shed a light on the future of living in a holistic and heartfelt way. Hello, Vahram. Happy to see and speak with you again.
Hi, Emily. Thanks a lot for this invitation and for a very interesting introduction about the topics. And I'm very happy to share my experience and my opinions. And I hope that we'll have many more people engaging in this topic in the very near future, so that at some point it will become a mainstream.
I hope so. I was fascinated myself when a year ago or even more, I came across this topic when I read the Network State book, famous book, and started to discover communities and people who are working in these realms. But speaking about you, do you start by telling us a bit about your personal journey and what led you to focus on the concept of free private cities and network states?
My background and my journey is a bit complex and difficult to understand because I have tried many things in my life. My educational background is international relations diplomacy, as well as genocide studies and human rights. So that is the pure educational background that I have. I studied in the universities, academic work, publications, and everything. But I was also a startup founder, co-founder, a tech startup co-founder, which even took us to Silicon Valley, the University of Berkeley, California. And how I came to this network state idea, this is a very interesting actually moment, because you mentioned about Balaji Srinivasan's book, The Network State. In 2020, Armenia and Nagorno-Karabakh, I don't know, many people maybe don't know or haven't heard, got attacked by Azerbaijan and its allies like Turkey and others. I couldn't imagine what's going on, but what I could understand was that we have a big Armenian diaspora. And this diaspora's power isn't exercised yet. This is a very focal moment here, because the very idea of the network state came from there, because that time there was no book like written by Balaji Srinivasan, and at that time I hadn't known. By that time I hadn't known any network state. So basically, so that was the idea, and I started publishing articles during the war, 2020 war. For example, there is an Armenian publication in Canada, a very decent publication called Gerard. I published an article there called Armenian Diaspora, Great Idea, like how to put together Armenians and diaspora. And then when the war ended, we got defeated and we suffered a lot of victims, big blazing and everything, loss of all ancient homeland and everything. I was trying to understand, actually I could realize actually that the problem is deeper than many Armenians would see, that the problem is not like the government or like the army, or the problem is not the economy. The problem is something even deeper, like ideological, systemic problem. And I decided to organize some meeting to build a network. I published an article called Network Saying the New Armenian Vision, but it is in the Armenian language. And then a month later, some notable Armenians reached out to me, and then we started publishing it in English. And that is how we kind of commemorate or celebrate our establishment date is February 24, 2021. So I was explaining what it is, how it should become one organism like Armenians everywhere. And why I'm mentioning these days, because it was February 2021. But the Balaji Srinivasan's book was published in July 2022. So this is very important. Why I'm saying this is important? Because at that time I wasn't involved in global network state movement. And I guess Balaji wasn't either. And then years later, he got into. But one of the most interesting things is that initially I thought that this is just an Armenian project. So Armenians can get together like diaspora and Armenian homeland, and that's it. But when you get into the real world, so you realize that things are not as easy as they seem, and that there are many people in the world who also want to build extraterritorial, how to say, if you call it that way, community or upliftment or faith or whatever a way you call it. And of course, we opened it to non-Armenians, this Armenian network, and a lot of non-Armenians got interested and joined in. And I could even invite many notable people onto, so they would come, share their ideas, their political knowledge, socio-political experience, how to build community. Just giving some names for the audience. With everything, imagine you enter the network state, it is your country, your home, or whatever. So with all its sections and everything, we even build platform, select.
Let's define in lay terms for people, like what is your definition of network states and how it's differ from the traditional notion of state?
It's a very tough question, actually. Balaji, in his book, tried to define, but Balaji's focus is basically building cloud communities and then rebel against nation states and claim sovereignty, or different lanes or whatever. In my opinion, actually, network states, and that's how we also created it. In my opinion, the network state is a means and not an end. This is a very important thing. The end goal is a must to define. And for me, the end goal was and is, of course, building up a new world order, but not the world order like this traditional nation states say, or unipolar, I don't know, bipolar or whatever, but a harmonious world order. This is very important to mention because I always mention this. The network states must come to terms this. What is the harmonious world? Harmonious world is when all civilization, cultures, people will get the right to exercise their civilization, cultures, and their traditions, and will also get the right to living there through places like homelands or whatever way we call it. This is very important because if you're talking about, for example, ecocide, environmental problems, I think this is also a big issue because if you're talking about species, animals, or we should also talk humans, because there and millions of humans were wiped out from their land. And I'm not talking about just the Armenian genocide. There's hundreds of examples of genocides and ethnic cleansing and everything, right? And you're in the Western Hemisphere now. You know what happened to the indigenous people there, right? Well, one of the key things is the harmonious world and where the civilizational coexist must be exercised. And I thought that Armenians should have a great role to play there in terms of their like ancient knowledge and ancient experience, like because Armenians throughout history were acting, at least for some millennia, were acting as communicator between the east and the west, between the south and the north. And I thought that this harmonious world order can also be exercised through the communicator approach. You bring civilizational, religious, philosophical leaders together. So they start talking like we have Davos in Switzerland where business people get together. So I was always thinking, and I am still thinking, acting as a platform where the Chinese and the Indians will meet each other. Or for example, Dalai Lama and Chinese will meet each other. Or the Israelis and the Iranians will meet each other. And I'm not necessarily talking about the political leaders. I'm also talking about the ordinary people. I'm talking about religious leaders and philosophical leaders. Building up that big, truly big world platform, which will give guidelines and guidance to these political leaders or whoever we call. So how to act. And if we succeed in building and get millions of followers, like a critical mass, we will definitely be able to affect on the decision-making process. And in the end of the day, the most important achievements would be when you reach not only people's brains, but also people's hearts. This is one of the most important things. So if the network state concept on that level, harmonious world civilization, cultures, coexistence, reaches people's hearts, not only brains, then we will definitely win.
That's exactly one of my next questions. And just to clarify, our listeners who might be just for the first time learn about it or listen but didn't understand, there is growing interest in free private cities and new countries. Could you explain what is a free private city and how it operates in practical terms?
That's a very interesting question as well, the free private cities and also, as you mentioned, intentional communities, right? When people, one of the most important things to mention is that there is a growing mistrust in leadership today. And especially the youngsters, and especially in the West, which is super important to mention, especially in the West, young people who are tired and fed up of what is going on, these really superficial agendas that are imposed on them. So they try to come up, get together, build something. And this is how these private cities actually operate. This is the ideological notion of it. And of course, there were technological things, technical things, like we had these free tax zones before. But it is, I'm trying to give the ideological dimension of it. The people who are tired, so they get together, they go to this private city. Why? Because in that private city, they would exercise their rights the way they think it is the right thing to do.
So can you bring example of private city which exists today? Do you mean Prospera or just some names?
Ciudad Morazan, for example, and I am very well connected with these people. They are in, by the way, they are in Honduras.
In Honduras, there are several communities, and I was actually too hesitant to say it's communities or cities. Where is the border between to define communities are living in a city or city with new governance type? What is the difference?
Actually, I can give you an example about Morazan because I spoke many times with Joyce, one of the masterminds of Ciudad Morazan. So Ciudad Morazan is a place where we know Honduras is a country with crime rate, with a lot of socio-political lies. Someone who lived in Latin America, so I know what is happening there. So people who want security, who want a more decent life in their camp, so they get together, they start living there. There is an accommodation, there is security and everything. But what is the important thing here is that, in my opinion, and I celebrate, by the way, all these projects, they will accumulate to something bigger. Those things still do not challenge the nation states because they are within the realm of the nation state. Because still they are in the territory of a nation state, right? So this is very important to mention because if you are talking about, for example, Balaji's network state, it is clearly challenging the nation state that, like Westphalia system and everything. If you are talking about our network state and what we thought, it is also different because we think that this network state must be very global in terms of challenging the entire world order. Like the relationship between countries, people, cultures, and everything must be shuffled. But these private cities, one of the good things within the private city ecosystem is that it is easier to build than this big movement like network state or even building a new country. For example, I don't know whether you have heard of Liberland or not.
Obviously, I'm even a resident of the Free Republic of Liberland, and it's a kind of next question. But I wanted our listeners to understand and to have concept intentional communities which can live and exist as of now. Like in United States, we have many examples. In other countries, there are private cities which are communities living on the special rules on the territory of one or other country. And there is network country, and Liberland is one of the successful examples as far as I know.
Why I mentioned Liberland, because it is very tough to see how Liberland wants to get recognized. And one of the key things is their relationship with Croatia, right? Because they are, I don't want to use this word persecuted, but the idea is still persecuted by Croatia. This is very important because the nation state still has dominance. Yes, dominance. And a couple of days ago, we had our consecutive webinar, fifth webinar in the network set of new countries webinar series that I organized within the Armenian network thing. This is very important because the same happens to private cities. Morazan and Prospera are facing problems with the Honduras government. And see, the government, the ultimate right of violence, this is one of the political terms, can definitely use power, hard power, against those entities and wipe them out.
So how the private city can navigate these challenges?
So I always mention these people that the key to success is political maturity and coordinated action, because these people in the nation states are also interested to understand what is this? And it doesn't necessarily mean that all of them want to kill us or want to eliminate us or whatever. It's also interesting to them because they also want to understand, because they are also realize that the very notion of the nation state is living its last stage because of the globalization, because of the fragile borders. The nation state do not deliver as yet as they used to. Now they do not deliver. So this is very important. That's why these people also want to understand what is this. So if we happen to be successful with a coordinated action, and it means like that, like a platform where at least 5-10 people can represent this network state, the private cities, the tertiary communities movement, and they go talk with nation states. That this will be a very good start, because I am absolutely certain, I always repeat this with other people who I meet in the ecosystem, I'm absolutely certain that we will get, if not millions, but at least thousands of followers within the decision-making bodies in the nation states when we position ourselves correctly. And that is how you shake the foundation of the current order. And I always bring the example. I'm bringing a very tricky example now, but it should a bit, I think, talk about, let's go back 2,000 years and see Jesus Christ. So he could reach out to people have the body brains and got millions of followers. One guy named Jesus Christ, let's get aside of religion, but I'm talking pure politics now, could shape the foundations of the Roman Empire. This is very important in order to try to understand how these things, there is no one of them. So if we happen to be successful, we building this coordinated action, coordinated group, and they start talking, and they start campaigning. And this campaign doesn't necessarily mean to be like articles or interviews or whatever. It should also be movies out. This is super important. Movies, because it needs to reach people hard. If we happen to be successful with this, I think it will shape the foundations, and we will have a very, very good transition, a very interesting period in human history.
So do you believe that new technologies, and there is a big role of technology in the building new network state, will be such a kind of new player in the game, helping for nation state to recognize power of network state?
I mentioned the fragile borders and globalization that entered much of them due to also the technology have already shaken the foundations of the nation states, like the borders, I don't know how to say, the visa systems, and everything. Things are changing. And of course, these metaverse communities,
Digital nomads communities moving from place to place.
cryptocurrency and everything. Definitely, they're challenging, and the nation states, I think, must accommodate to it because there is no other way. And I wanted to bring a very interesting example about this. There is a military journal called Divergent Options. And in these divergent options, there is an acting American Army officer, acting, not a retired, it's very important to mention. American acting Army officer who states that the United States of America soon will have a war. We get into war with a network state. It doesn't specify which network state. He says that these network states will be so powerful that they can even reach to, I don't know, Washington, D.C. or whatever. So
You speak about cybersecurity now from this point.
no, I'm talking about true harmonious. Because people will be present there. Because that is what Balaji, by the way, said, cloud community. And then the cloud community is rebelled. For example, 1 million Brazilians, 2 million Russians, 3 million Americans, 4 million, I don't know, Africans. So they get together. Then
All in networks?
yeah, all network, and they rebel. They say, I don't obey the government of Brazil. Just giving a very dumb example, right? I don't obey government of Sudan. I don't obey government of Russia or whatever. And they have finances, they have lobby power, and they even have guns in some places. So this is a very crazy scenario. And this guy This divergent options writer, American Army officer, writes about it. The United States is going.
What's his name? Do you remember?
Bryce Johnson, I have the article, I can share it with you.
Okay.
So this is very important to understand because the NAGFIC officer writes about this. And it is a signal that they are also interested in trying to understand what this. And again, I'm saying this is a pre-seed stage ecosystem yet, but it has a huge potential because there's millions of people who are tired of the superficial socio-political agenda, especially economic agenda, that now it is imposed on them, and they want to go hold of it.
So what kind of agenda would be on the network states? Because it can be just technologically different space, but if people with the same mentality or intention coming to it, so they can recreate the same environment.
That's a very good question, and the most important question, the most important issue, because when we are talking about technology, about economic development, we just forget one thing. Human is human, and the society is the same society like it was 5,000 years ago, like it is now. See the same humans. And definitely there, as I said, that the red line would be this harmonious world. You shouldn't pass it. And you couldn't cross that threshold. And number three, if you ask me how concrete it should be, I cannot answer because I don't even know the answer of it. But I understand that it shouldn't be like 1% owns more money than 99%, for sure. And this should be exercised all ground and not just in documents like the UN Charter or whatever. So this is very important. And definitely technology has a very big role to play here. But still, in the end of the day, it is the humans who should exercise it and who should use it. And that's why when I say art, movies, propaganda regarding all this, exactly what you reach people's hearts so they truly follow you. They truly believe it though, so that they change the way they live.
But they have power and they will not give up their assets and power for the new entity. Even they might like the ideas. Okay, I don't want to name the names who are actually writing the books and leading the companies, but they belong to the same generation which looking for change, but they are being on the top, actually working in similar direction. And how you see this power struggle can be.
Yeah, that's how the answer is, of course, the struggle. The process is long term, definitely. But when I say long term, it doesn't mean it's 100 years because now time is running faster than it used to. Now 1 year is longer than 100 years in the 15th century, for example.
Yes, the time accelerates. Whatever was here like 10 years ago, today it might be in a day. I think amount of information which is released, amount of innovation, reinvention. So it all takes this super speedy development. But sometimes we as a people, we cannot get it because of all this multiple developments at the same side. And from my side, I believe that start should be from actually living communities. When you speak about people, like this intentional community of people who living on the land, again, from down up, here's the exercise in different models of intentional communities which exist already and probably will be even more diverse. People can get to the best working models. Okay, moving to intentional communities, how do you see these are different from similar to network state or free private cities, in your opinion?
I think all how we name them, I think there is one guy in this ecosystem or network state, new countries, free private cities, international communities. His name is Ilya Alexa. He's based in Malta. He said something interesting for me one day, and I always quote him when saying this because this is his idea, that there are three entities, establishments in the world that people follow or obey or whatever. Nation-state government, corporations, and religious institutions. But there are people who don't want to obey none of them, like no religious institutions, no corporations, no nation states, and they want something new. And these people are the fourth dimension, fourth establishment. And this fourth establishment is network states, private cities, and international communities. This is very important. This is what I was telling. If there's a coordinated action, this will be the fourth establishment talking to the other three establishment, and this is the growing establishment. This fourth establishment definitely is hungry for growth, and is going to shake, to dictate actually, at least the 21st century, I can say.
Can you name a couple of these communities? What come to your mind as a good example already existing? I know a couple, but I'm interested to learn from you.
For example, one in Montenegro called Montelibero. Yeah, they are very good guys. I really like how they work.
In Latin America.
In Latin America, there are also many network states, kind of communities, intentional communities. Even of course, there is the community of New Hampshire, which is very famous.
In Mexico, there are several. I know in Panama, they building and growing. Costa Rica, and they all a little bit different.
There is Liberstad in Norway. There are many. If I go to my Telegram now, if I on Telegram, I am connected to all of them. I can find maybe hundreds of names. Like Loki, Joshua is the founder of it, a very also interesting community. So basically, these communities, as I said, they are signaling the birth of the fourth establishment, which is in pre-seed stage. But it is signaling that there is a bunch of people who are fed up, tired, angry with this system that is imposed on them, and they want something new. This is something that I would like the nation state decision makers to understand, because in the end of the day, they are going to face this within their boundaries, within their populations. Her people are fed up, tired, and this type of problem.
I think they already see it, but maybe from the different perspective, because this year and last year, and I believe even a couple of next, not looks like very peaceful coexistence between states and people in many countries. So let's say Europe, even results of the last European Union election or elections are now in this and next years and coming step by step in each country. It's an interesting dynamic, but I believe for intentional communities to take over, and tell me maybe I'm wrong, it might take 10 years. Or how you see, what do you see, in what direction the progress in development of free cities or intentional communities might go?
I wouldn't actually give numbers in terms of timing, because you never know, because 1 year now is faster than 20 years before. But one of the key things here is that we are going to see chaos now. Chaotic period, because we are entering into chaotic period in human history. Why? Because we are in deep crisis, ideological crisis, the humanity. And that's why people want this fourth establishment. It is very important to address and to accept. And considering these problems always get solved by big wars or big calamities or big whatever. Yes, and we're seeing it now, but it also brings, this chaos also brings new solutions. And they're going to witness this. These intentional communities definitely are a response to a failure of delivery of basic services. Like people in the United States, New Hampshire, or there are Armenians who now go to Tennessee, so they go there. Now that they are building a project, a community there, they go there. Like when you're fed up of, I don't know, like public education which is failed, for example, shooting. So you go to supermarket, get shot and dead, or whatever. What the hell is going on, right? Or these superficial agendas like, oh, let's go protest, do this parades like LGBTQ, etc. Those are things that are important, but not the mainstream, but they have become mainstream in order to divert people's attention. So this is very important to understand.
Yeah, it's clear to me, but many people are still involved or vice versa, want to go on a side and forget about all this, that they might miss something important as well.
Yes, of course. They are getting enslaved, like you work, you pay bills, you pay loan. So one of the most important things is that 1% is controlling your money, your 99%, 99% money. So you need to focus on that. So this is the model of slavery. So these are the important things to address. And not only that, like genocide or wars happening now. People are talking about nuclear war, which is already crazy thing. Even talking about it, right? But it's become a media publication material now. Russia is going to nuke Ukraine, Americans are going to nuke Russia. So this has become really crazy. Well, I truly think that these international communities are going to grow because people are looking for safer places and where they will not get headache every day. People are tired. And this will bring, I think, a very big exodus of power, intellectual power, for because what people live and they go to the intentional communities. So these people no longer participate in those chaotic processes. This is super important to understand. But at the end of the day, the ones who created this chaos still possess the army, possess the hard power, police. So it is still very premature to say that, oh, we are going to have, for example, 1 million communities worldwide and we will win. Definitely not. One of the most important things is that to create a coordinated group, I'm repeating myself, of all these choices so that they talk. Media, very important to create media. So challenging New York Times, challenging, I don't know, LA Times, challenging Global Times of China or whatever. So you challenge it. So you need to be prepared. But in order to be prepared for that, you need to have people to understand it. And you need to train people, educate people about it. And this is pure politics. And this is not we are going the same way that the United States when special services, KGB, CIA or whatever. No, this is something different. You create a think tank, a big think tank with huge database. People help each other. People talk with each other. People share information with each other. So you understand that you have more power than the nation states do. And because you are everywhere and they are not. So this is super important to address. Imagine we have 1 million communities in every part of the world. How much information you will possess all ground that they will not. They will send their spies to try to collect info, or they will try to use this space technology to get some info. But I'm talking about analytical info, so which is more important than just information that is prevalent on internet or whatever. This is super important. This body must exist. And I always tell to people that this is a must. If you want to consider yourself or to compete or whatever, to position yourself firmly in the world, you must this analytical center. It's a huge database, it's huge platform where people share information and help each other. For example, imagine you're from Morasan community and I am from, let's say, Lindbergstad community. You come to Norway and I'm giving a very dumb example. You want to get a haircut, but you don't want to go to a normal ordinary haircut center. So you want to go to a haircut which is in that community. You open the database and say, okay, there is a haircut, so I go there. So again, very dumb example how the economy works there. So it's helping each other. Or you want your daughter or son to study. You don't want to study in a nation state around university or whatever. So you will build a university. We build educational reality. So it doesn't necessarily mean to repeat what the nation state went through. But you build an economy, ecosystem, a big one, not just cryptocurrency or Bitcoin or whatever. You build a true economy where people can see on ground They can touch it. They can feel it.
But they should have the institutions. They should have specialists and professionals, say, I don't know, online university or...
Sure. But what I'm trying to say, like you educate people, you build an elite. An elite, and all people who are in this ecosystem, in these fourth establishments, start thinking as how to say it. I don't want to bring segregation here, but like nobility, but in a positive sense. It is very important to address because
No, it's very important, but it resembles kind of the same rules of the nation states, just under the different circumstances for different people in intentional communities.
I don't think so. Why? Because the nation states care about having manpower and exploiting them. But what I'm talking about, because the nation states are about what? About the power institutions, the minority governing majority, right? But what I'm talking about, you educate these people. These people go and build up all new communities. You start big movements like and the same thing, the same way you can say the same about Jesus, right? For 12 apostles, students who went. So you this way, when you build this platform economy and everything, you try to expand your reach globally because you are going to shake the foundation. This is very important because if we don't put that big goal on ourselves and we build just one Morasan and prosper, one day Honduras army will come and destroy Morasan. The other day Honduras army will come and destroy Prosper, and that's it. So things like that will never work. But if you expand it, it becomes big. Imagine Christianity staying just in Bethlehem, for example. What would happen? Would be contained here everywhere. So you try to maximize and build a critical mass. So what I'm trying to say is that if the establishment people, these fourth establishment people, whether they are in intentional communities, network states, private cities, if they don't understand that politics is hard, you need to be prepared for long-term struggle, then I think it's not wise to even start it. If you go and live in an intentional community for 3 years, and then in the third year they come and crash you, they definitely will. If they see that you start harming more, or some crazy despot or authoritarian will come and say, oh, okay, who are these guys? So destroy them. What are you going to do? My question is, what are you going to do? Nothing. There is nothing that you can do. So that's the problem. But if you are a big network, even with private military that you have, then it's very difficult to talk with you. This is super important to address because we are talking about a long-term struggle. And in long-term struggle, you are always going to deal with evil. You are building this network state, let's do this, let's get together, live here.
So I was hoping at least that in the network state, at least on the platform which defines, it will be less of politics and more, I would say, services that would serve people. And I know that on the Free City Foundation, they even launch online academy, maybe not yet academy, but instance that people can take courses and learn more about this type of communities and learn about some other subjects like crypto or other, which really will get awareness and education on principles that these cities, communities, and villages would be prospering. Otherwise, we will get to similar structure. Yeah.
No, when we say politics, I think people, first of all, when I say politics, definitely if you think that everything will go smoothly and the nation state will be very happy to have many private cities within their territory, it's a lie, definitely. They're going to crash them. I'm absolutely certain. I'm more than certain. I'm sure I can confirm it here. And I can say it in every, I say that I will say it in every interview or the publication, because it doesn't have a chance if you don't try to internationalize, to globalize it. This is very important because if you build 1, 2, 3 intentional communities, it's okay. But What does these 2, 3, 4 official communities do for the world? Let's talk about this. This is very important. This is politics. So do they stop the nuclear war between Russia and the West? They don't. So this is very important to understand. Yeah. So that's politics already. So what I'm saying is that your goal, your agenda must be very big. If you want to shape the foundations of current establishment, your goal must be very big. You need to act locally, start from small steps, but this you need to understand that you are entering into a big gap. If you don't understand that you are, I'm not talking about you and me, by the way, when I say you, generally.
No, I understand. And we were trying to touch many different aspects in one conversation. And obviously, it's not possible. And my question would be for those who are interested to learn more or being part of free cities, free private city, intentional community, or network state projects, what steps would you recommend they take to get involved if somebody is ready to be part of it?
Yeah, this is a good question. Of course, there are a bunch of websites, Telegram groups, so they can join, they can just search and join. But still, as I say, one of the most important things for me is that if people do not feel that this is a big game, long-term game, it's better not to enter there.
No, it's a very big game. It's a change of the structure of society, of community, of educational health system. But people are looking for change in order to get something better, something, I would say, fair, a new type of freedom. Even each person might have different definition of it. That's why I think that certain policy are very important and they would exist. How to live together based on what is accessibility or the criteria to be accepted to live in such community. And some criteria already working on the ground. And I know that almost all communities, they have their own manifesto or some rules. So it's working, but for people who are looking for information but don't know yet what group to join or what would be better for them, maybe to start learning or to be active in some, what you would suggest to join your platform? What kind of entities exist as of now?
Yeah, that's a very good question. As I say, they can search on internet and join. There are many websites and many groups, Telegram, Discord groups that they can join in. I will be actually happy to be in touch and to also advise people on how they can even start their own project. But again, as you mentioned that they have their manifest and everything. But in the end of the day, they feel these people still belong to the nation states.
Obviously, as in the Bible, they were going in the desert for 40 years at least. The new generation will grow up with the new ideas of freedom. So it takes time, but it should work this time.
But I'm also saying technically they also belong to the nation state. For example, Morazan, I told this Joyce many times. And so Morazan people who live in Morazan, they still belong to Honduras. That's it. Honduras has the right of violence over that. This is very political category. This is what I'm trying to say when we have meeting within the network state webinars. You have heard of the Seed-Selling Institute, like people who want to build the community in the ocean, right? So that this is something like you challenge the international order, so you don't obey no tax, no army, no whatever. So this is very important. But for that, you need a political body, and the political body doesn't mean that you need to have president or king or whatever. Political body is people who understand how to transform, to make this transition smoothly. And this is the toughest issue, and I think most pressing issue. That's why I always say if there are people who would like to work on this, we would be very happy to work. Otherwise, it will be one of the relics of the nation state or the current establishment, which I am not interested in, by the way. Because I am interested in a big game because you are starting something big. And you should know that you are coming to shake the foundations of the current world order. Because if the order wasn't bad, why should I start it then?
But we have today Free City Foundation. We have Tripoli and another organization which obviously maybe not enough, but already working for years, shaping policy, architecture, having online and offline conferences. So there is already movement, actually, in my view, political as well. So what is missing here in your view?
Oh, of course, there is no mature political agenda and discourse here. Because everything is like rose glasses. Okay, let's do this, let's do this. Community, no, things like that never work and never worked in history because we are not inventing a new history here. We are just shaping a new society. But we are again within the same human history, by the way. So this is very important to understand.
So what are you offering? What kind of entity you offering or envision?
Yes, that's envision is like this, like you build extra like nation state bodies. Like this is very important. And for that, to reach the concrete steps there, you at least need people who are politically mature. Political maturity, they understand about human history and politics. But if you say that, oh wow, we are building this community because we think that the world order is not good, that these nation states are annoying, that the taxes imposed on us are not good, that there is no security and safety for our kids, and that Russia and the West are going to nuke each other so that the earth will cease to exist and we will die all together. That's why we are building this community, which will build another community, there's another community. Then I'm with these people, definitely. But if okay, let's do it, then it doesn't work, definitely. Because in my opinion, the agenda must be very big and very long term, shake from foundation. This is how things work. Because you are dealing with millions of people, even billions of people, with centralized power institutions. And thinking that you are going to build one to community and you are going to win the game against them, I think it's a big job. When they follow you and when they believe you more than they believe in the elected representative or prime minister or whatever, then you win the game because they believe in you more than them. It is very important. That's how politics works. And this is not standard politics that we see. This is something different, like Jesus did. And I consider, by the way, Christianity is one of the earliest network states.
Thank you very much. Thank you. I believe you put a lot of ideas and probably many are new for listeners and we need time to digest and reflect on it. And I believe it's our first but not the last meeting. Thank you very much for your time and desire and passion speaking about topics of network state, free private cities, and intentional communities. Thanks a lot.
Thanks a lot to you, Emily, and I would be very happy to answer any further question if anyone has or anyone doesn't understand the meaning of what I said. I would be very happy to clarify further.
It's a big topic and we just started.
Thanks a lot. Thank you.
And just like that, our conversation with one fantastic Vahram Ayvazyan ends. We've explored the fascinating world of free private cities, network states, and intentional communities, and learned about the challenges and opportunities they bring. Vahram, thank you for taking us on such an inspiring journey. And to you, our listeners, thank you for joining us and indulging in this exploration of pioneering living spaces. Remember, the future is not just something that happens, it's something we create together. Are you feeling inspired? Curious? Are you ready to embark on a transformative journey towards a new way of living? We hope today's episode has ignited your imagination and opened your heart to the endless possibilities that lie ahead. The age of reinvention is upon us, and it's brimming with opportunities for those brave enough to seize them. Remember, the path to reinvention starts with a single step, a step that you have the power to take today. If today's talk has sparked something inside you, we invite you to delve deeper, ask questions, and perhaps even start paving your path toward your ideal community. The future is not just something that happens, we co-create. And your voice is not just important, it's crucial. Your thoughts, your ideas, your dreams, they all have the power to shape the future of living. So don't hesitate to share them. We are not just a podcast, we are a community. Stay connected with us for more stories, insights, and guides into the transformative world of relocation and community living innovation. Subscribe, share with friends, or share your thoughts. We are always here to listen and engage. We're particularly interested in hearing your thoughts on today's episode. Have you ever lived in an intentional community? What are your thoughts on free private cities? Your voice is crucial in shaping the future of living, so don't hesitate to share. Until next time, keep dreaming big, seeking new horizons, and nurturing your bold ideas. The age of reinvention is here, and together we're making it beautiful. See you on the next episode of Age of Reinvention. With warmth and curiosity, Emily.